Here are all the books that I want to read during the Historical Romance Readathon. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now for today's video, I'm going to be doing a TBR video for the Historical Romance Readathon that my friends and I are hosting from June 28th all the way to July 4th. So my friends are Lacey from Lacey Book Lovers, as well as Jessica from Peace Love Books XO. This is actually our fourth round of the Historical Romance Readathon, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger with every time we do it, which is just so fun, because when we first started, it was just like kind of like, this is a one-time thing only, and then we really enjoyed it, and then the second time came around and momentum kind of picked up and a lot more people kind of joined us and fell in love with the genre, so we got more and more excited, and plus we love hosting it. So this is our fourth round. Who knows if we're going to do another round this year. So these are going to be the books that I'm going to try to get through during the week, but I do have some expectations myself not getting through all the books that I have on my TBR, mostly because that life is getting a little bit busy and you know, things happen. But regardless, here are the books that I want to get through, and maybe you can add it to your TBRs for the readathon, or just add to your general TBR anyways, because they sound delightful. Now for the first book that I do want to read is actually one from Kate Bateman called The Princess and the Rogue. And now for Kate Bateman, I actually didn't realize that she writes under a different name, which is KC Bateman, for her indie published historical romances. So I actually didn't know that she wrote one of my favorite historical romances that was indie published, and now that I know this, I'm going to read her traditionally published romance that she typically publishes through St. Martin's Press. Now this one sounds like it's a really interesting one. It's a spy historical romance. Our hero is actually a Bow Street runner. He's an agent, and he is caught up in the motions of the actions of everything, and he ends up kissing a mysterious lady who he is smitten with and who he thinks is very attractive, and then he realizes that she might be tied to the fact that there is a missing princess. And then suddenly all eyes are on her, and he's hyper focused on her. And turns out our heroine is actually a princess, and that she has been living under an identity that she has created and living as a commoner, mostly because she knows that she is in danger and that someone is trying to kill her. So the next historical romance that I do want to read is actually one from Kathy Maxwell called Her First Desire. And now this one sounds like a historical romance remake of 99% Mine by Sally Thorne, which is, or like the same idea where these two people are fighting over one piece of property. And basically what happens in Her First Desire is that the hero and the heroine both inherited a piece of property, and now they're duking it out to figure out who is the rightful owner. So our female heroine seems like that she's been snubbed all her life, and she has finally grown kind of like a backbone, and she's standing up for herself, and she is definitely going to stand up to our hero. And then our hero is in disbelief that the heroine wants to turn the beautiful piece of property into kind of like this like luxurious place where they have tea gardens and other feminine things. So this one sounds like it's going to be a lighthearted enemies to lovers romance. So the next historical romance that I do want to pick up is actually one from Sophie Jordan, and this one is actually her YA historical romance debut. I feel like this one's called 16 Scandals, and at first when I first heard about it, I really wanted to read it, and I even requested an ebook copy of it from NetGalley, but sadly I was rejected by the publisher, which kind of made me upset. But then I went, you know what, I'll buy the copy myself. So now I have a copy of 16 Scandals, and this one, it sounds like it's going to be another fun treat as well. This one is about our main female heroine who realizes that her family is actually delaying her debut in society, so she decides to rebel and run off for the night, and then she dresses up as a different person, and then she has her identity almost being revealed, and then scandal would definitely happen, but then a mysterious hero steps in and actually saves her from the scandal. Now the next book that I have on my TBR is actually a pirate historical romance, which is one of my faves, and I actually don't read as much as I would like, mostly because pirate romances aren't that popular nowadays. But if you go a little bit deeper, if you dig a little deeper into the books that have been published years ago and decades ago, then you can find a lot. And then also indie published, there's a lot of historical romances that feature pirates. Now this one is from Shannon Galen, and now this one is called The Pirate Takes a Bride, and it's basically an enemies to lovers romance featuring our heroine who really despises our hero. And that's because our hero kind of took her virginity and then left her to dust. So it's also a second chance romance as well. And now our hero kind of needs to reveal a secret side to him, which is the fact that he is a pirate. Now the next historical romance that I have is another one from Shannon Galen, and this one's called While You Were Spying, and this is a spy historical romance that I need to read ASAP. But basically, a lot of people have asked me for spy historical romance recs, and I haven't read enough, so this is me trying to read as much as I can. Now, this one is a second chance romance between our hero and heroine, and basically they had a fling, they met, they liked each other, but then he kind of just left her because he had reasons that she does not know. And then now he's back, and now she wants to get in his face and kind of cause trouble, but he pretends that he doesn't know her, and now this is kind of like a tug of war between emotions and then kind of like a little fun spicy read where he's trying to really focus on his mission, but then he also is very tempted by our female heroine. The next book that I do want to get my hands on is actually one from Stacey Reid. This one's called Sins of a Duke, and basically our hero is super attractive and everybody wants to be with him, but he has his eyes set on our heroine, and our heroine is naive and thinks that, you know, this is like the start of a relationship, but actually deep down our hero is targeting our heroine to get back at her older brother. So it sounds like it's going to be super angsty, especially when he realizes that he likes her for her and that he may have messed up. The next historical romance that I do want to get my hands on is this really funny and dramatic one that I think sounds really good, and this one's from Elizabeth Boyle. Now, I've never read Elizabeth Boyle before, but I really want to give her a try. So this one's called Stealing the Bride, and it's basically about our heroine who has unrequited love with our hero. She is so sick and tired of not getting the attention that she deserves, so she decides to kind of run off with like a scoundrel and just like a random guy just to get his attention and be so dramatic. And then now our hero is like rolling his eyes in the corner of the room, but he is sent by orders from, I think, like the king to ask to retrieve her, and now he is chasing after her like how she wanted him in the beginning. Now the next book that I do want to read is actually one from Anna Harrington. Now I don't talk about Anna Harrington a lot on my channel, and I literally do not know why, because Anna is literally one of my favorite historical romance authors out there. I feel like she writes really angsty historical romances and it's just so beautiful and it always makes me cry. She did start writing a few books for Source Books Casablanca, and it's like, it's good, but it's not my favorite. But with Forever Romance and her series, it's like chef's kiss, really good. So I figured that I would actually finish one of the series from her, which is the series called Capturing the Carlyles, I think that's what it's called. And the third book in the series is called As the Devil Dares. And now this one sounds like it's going to be magnifique. It's like a matchmaking trope. So this one involves our hero kind of agreeing reluctantly to help our heroine, who is described to be as kind of like a very beautiful girl, but she has like no prospects because she's poor and she doesn't have anything going for her. And so it's going to be a very tough process for him to kind of marry her off. And then what happens is, of course, he accidentally falls in love with her. So I think this one's going to be really good, and I have the audiobook from my library, but I'm debating whether or not I should read the book instead, because reading it is definitely like you feel more of the emotion. So I think the last book that I'm going to talk about is actually our group pick read, and this one's from Grace Calloway, and this one's called Olivia and the Masked Duke, and this one sounds like it's going to be super fun. Our heroine really likes to solve mysteries, and so when she goes to like this garden party, she realizes that it's just a bunch of ladies solving mysteries and becoming detectives and being their own Sherlock Holmes, and she has this like deadly like mystery mission that she wants to solve, but then she runs into our hero who is very tortured. He's definitely like a scarred and damaged hero who wears a mask and hides behind it, and it sounds like it's going to be super angsty and super cute too as well. So I'm excited to read our group read. Anyways, that is it for the books that I do want to get my hands on very quickly, very fast. I just want to give like a quick reminder that, you know, with readathons, there's always pressure for us to read as fast as possible and to really focus on the numbers of books that we are reading. And and things like that. But even if you just read the group read, or even if you just read one of the historical romances that was on your TBR, I feel like you already succeeded the readathon. It's definitely not a race. For me personally, I know that it does get difficult sometimes with like focusing on the numbers of books I finish on the readathon, and I always feel like I'm a failure if I don't read as much as possible. But I'm going to try to adjust myself and my way of thinking, and we're going to see how that goes. But if I do end up reading a lot, yay for me, and if I don't, oh well. There's always more days in the year and in my lifetime to read historical romances. So don't feel pressured. I'll see you guys next time with a new video. Bye.